I've discussed a lot about how the floor is more important than the ceiling in 2025. With football being played this week, it's time to reconvene and discuss again. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Cardinals, Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen free wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please go to the YouTube channel. Search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit the subscribe button, man. Check out the Cardinals Squad Show twice a week. Me, Jamil Douglas, and Ben Garcia have fun over there. An extra hour twice a week, live content for you here on the Locked On Podcast Network. So, friend of the show is coming back. Friend of the show, I don't really know what to call you. I mean, it's
I don't like it either. Friend of the show.
Former ball and chain of mine, Bo Brack, PHNX Cardinals. Dude, thanks for joining me. Let's get right into this here. So,
can this be a squad show? Can we be a squad?
I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to be a part of this squad. Okay, you've been at camp, you've been all around, you've been in the pressers, you did everything. For me, it's about the floor in 2025. It's about playing non-bottom five offense specifically when you look top five the series before. What needs to go into that outside of just Kyler Murray needs to play better more often?
Well, I mean, the maturation, I think, of Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably something that's going to be able to separate you from, 13th, 12th ranked offense, one that's like 23 points per game, to a team that can hit the explosives downfield, that can have a consistent go-to wide receiver on the outside. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, I want to see less outside for Marvin, more in the middle of the field. I think that's involved in it, but it's like a true partner in crime for Trey McBride in this passing game. I think that those two guys are enough, coupled with the run game and Kyler Murray and all the things he can do, for an offensive ecosystem that could be a top 10 unit.
Yeah, and I think to expound upon that, using all of your talents, on top of Marv leveling up, he's put the muscle on, he still looks pretty effortless out there. He seems more comfortable on a football field this year than he did during chunks of last year. But I'm with Trey Benson and James Conner, the share there. They've got so many dudes who are good at their position. They just didn't use as much last year. James Conner, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that's one of the main, obviously, limitations of this offense. Trey Benson this is the year where you start to see less James Conner, more Trey Benson in specific spots. Do you see him becoming another pillar, go-to guy on this offense this year to kind of level up the floor as we're talking about?
It's a bit premature at this point. I mean, you've got what I'll call hyperbole and kind of gassing up his guy, and James Conner at post red and white scrimmage on Saturday saying, paraphrasing, we're co-RB1s. I don't buy that for a second. I think it's still going to be a heavy dose of Conner, while you'll see Benson kind of take the second year little jump. He's going to be somebody that's not going to look hesitant to make one cut and go. He's not going to be a guy that's going to be working east to west. He's going to be going more north to south, more of what you saw at Florida State that made him the 66th overall pick. But yeah, I mean, do I believe Trey Benson's going to get more of a workload? Absolutely. But it's still going to be heavily on Six's shoulders and legs, but what do we know about James Conner? It's inevitable he misses time. He's consistently missed time, just his running style. So that could bode well for a guy like Benson, hopefully avoiding, something catastrophic with Conner, but that Benson's going to see an increase in workload. And I think he's ready for it. I mean, he's up 9 pounds, just like Marv. It's just a little bit more under the radar.
Yeah. I mean, it's always been with me is they've relied on James Conner too much. It's called Arian when you and I were doing the show, I used to call it Arian fostering. It's you just run somebody into the ground and then it's oh no, they got hurt. Then you got to pivot. It's what if you don't have to do that? What if you give him his 240 carries again across 17 weeks and you just lighten it a little bit and you give him the ball where he's great inside the 5? There's so many different ways to use James Conner's skill set. Just because he's a violent runner doesn't mean he must get injured every year. They just need to have an RB2, a clear one. And that's what pivoting here. I don't want it to be like James Conner and let's just see what Amari DiMercado and Trey Benson can do. It's no, I want to see the Cardinals have a bona fide RB2 who will be able to take the place and act as an RB1 if James Conner were to get hurt and not just do it, by the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of confidence in Trey Benson, from the head coach to the play caller to the lead of the running back room. I think that they understand that he's a guy just like Robert Taylor Demerson on the defensive side of the football, that they have to find ways to get him on the field, to get him touches in the offense, just because he's who they envisioned when they drafted him out of FSU, and to kind of just table that just based on you got somebody standing in front of you. It's champagne problems for the most part, but yeah, you want to see, in order for him to get better, he's got to play. He's got to see more touches. So we'll see what that looks like. I think we'll see quite a bit of Benson in the preseason, as opposed to, like, I doubt we'll see very much, if any, of James Conner.
Yeah, no, that's right. And that's the way it should be. And I'm sure you guys are talking about it over at PHNX Cardinals, how much should starters play, if at all. So you see a lot more second-year guys be playing now that Starling Thomas goes out. I'm going to be doing that on Wednesday's show. I didn't know I was going to talk about this, but I'm curious because this is one of the more fascinating things for me going into last year, but even more so now because they have more ammo. Fourth down choices. 4th and 5 on their own, or on the 50 on their side of the line, 4th and 3. It's like, okay, there's two different schools of thought. One, you play the boring position game and you try to coffin corner dudes, and then you have this defense maybe, forcing some sort of ridiculous turnover that leads to 6 quick points. Or it's like you got Big Brother standing behind you. You're going for it all the time. Like, I know that there's going to be varying degrees, of course, but it's like, and it's never going to get to Detroit. It's never going to get to the Eagles. That's not Jonathan Gannon. But could this be a scary 4-down team, especially with Jacoby Brissett being able to take those, short yardage, downside hike, push, roll there?
It's got to get better. I mean, that's the main point. It's got to improve. It was bad. It was near the bottom of the league as far as 4th down conversions. But the days of going for broke, like what we saw in 2023, I think that was a product of, a team with no expectations, not playing for much. Look, playing a 4th down, Gillikin gives you the opportunity in an improved defense personnel wise for you to have confidence that you're going to get the ball back quickly or make a play and put the pressure, ratchet up the pressure there. But, like, regardless, I mean, it's Kyler Murray, Drew Petzing, the brain trust that is, as far as the play calling there and the execution, it's got to be better. Like, the one that stands out to me was, 4th and short yardage in Seattle, and it turns into a pick 6 the other way. It's just can't have it. Can't have it. Like, you're going to be playing, the margin for error for what the expectations for this team is. You gotta be able to eliminate those mistakes and succeed. Like, I think back to that Washington run last year, man. It was like they needed a big play on 4th down, and it felt like Jaden Daniels came away with it more often than not. And that needs to be Kyler Murray in this offense.
Yeah, and that's maybe the best microcosm of leveling up in 2025. It's like, this is going forward on 4th down league now. And you've got plenty of talent. There's no reason why you should be towards the bottom or even sniffing it with, percentage of conversion, regardless of distance. And, like, you got James Conner, you got Trey Benson, you got Jacoby Brissett, you got Kyler Murray, you got Marv Trey. It's like, with this defense being as good as it is, I think that they're going to be taking more chances. I think the worst thing of Jonathan Gannon's performance as a head coach last year was some situational stuff down the stretch on 4th downs. Carolina was kind of a Travis Sham mockery. They went for it on 4th, super deep in their own zone. But it's like, they've got to have it plays for 4th down. And you're right. Like, that's one of the biggest level ups they got to see. And I don't see a world where they don't. Like, everything we're seeing factual things that have happened that would lead us to believe that this team is going to be exponentially better than it was last year in specific ways, right? I mean, we're not too close to this, right? Like, this is supposed to be a lot better this year.
Yes, but you also have to take in consideration, like, what they didn't do on offense. They're running it back. So where they're supposed to improve is based off of what they feel is improved chemistry, continuity, and that the execution is going to increase, or the opportunity. The defense is going to create more opportunities, but it's the same thing. You just need to see it more productive, especially in money situations. And also not so money situations, like the down before that, like 3rd and long, atrocious, just downright bad. I think they converted like 7 of 50 3rd and longs last year, which was historically bad. Like, since 2000, that was as bad as it gets.
while giving up a lot. I remember in Buffalo, they gave 3 or 4 in that and gave that game away in week 1. And then, it didn't get any better. Bo Brack, PHNX Cardinals joining me. Will Johnson had a wow interception on Kyler Murray yesterday or Saturday. Is that something that should worry Cardinals fans regarding Kyler Murray and his efficiency? I will discuss it next. Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. This episode of Locked on Cardinals is brought to you by our friends over at Yahoo Fantasy. It's the best time of year, man. NFL's kicking off. That means fantasy football's back. Bo's still terrible at it. Ask him, don't ask me. This year, Yahoo Fantasy is turning things up with a fantasy football experience like never before. I've got 2 leagues that are like 30 years combined. I just made massive amounts of trade in my dynasty league where I had to level up. I was sick of donating, and I traded for a bunch of guys. Traded with my buddy Tyler, who's actually a friend of the show. I traded my 2 first-round picks in 2026 for the 9th pick overall in this year's draft, plus Rashad White, because I just traded for Bucky Irving, and I wanted the full Tampa Bay backfield. And listen, it's all on Yahoo, man. It's super easy, super clean. You can trade future picks when you're in dynasty format. They make it, incredibly seamless for you. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days through August. It actually starts today. To kick it off, they just dropped Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues, a killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo when the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's one team left standing. With the season around the corner, now's the time to get your league together and to give this new mode a try. If you're more into the classics, you can still play in the head-to-head private leagues or join a public league. Stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. Bo Brack, my buddy from PHNX Cardinals, joins me today. What was the buzz around red and white practice? Seemed like there was a lot of people in the stands. Seemed like a lot of people excited for the season.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty subdued, right? You didn't have Marv for a 3rd straight day. Michael Wilson got knocked out with a concussion the day before. No James Conner, no Calais Campbell. So as far as like the big time names, it was Kyler Murray, and then the guys who were new to the show. Will Johnson stole the show. Otherwise, there wasn't much to talk about offensively. Couple splash plays here and there. Greg Dortch, Trey McBride looked good as he's done all camp. But yeah, I mean, it was the 2nd round pick out of Michigan that really kind of gave it something that people could leave that event and say, man, I can't, that was unbelievable what I witnessed, because it wasn't just like this mundane pick. And if you watch it, it's not like, somebody going in one hand in the ball or anything like that. But just the fact that the execution level for Kyler Murray and Zay Jones on that play were where it needed to be. And Will Johnson just made a better play. He read it, and he just made a fantastic play.
Are people undervaluing Max Melton, or is there a real
line
for Will? So is there a line for Will Johnson to start week 1, or is this going to be Max Melton, and then Will Johnson will play 30-40% of the snaps, and you just kind of figure out who's better?
No, I think like if they ever get into base, which is rare, like if they get in base, Garrett Williams and Max Melton will be the outside corners. If they go to, play nickel, dime, whatever, they have an affinity to play, Will Johnson's going to be on the field opposite Max Melton as the starting outside corner. Like he's a starting corner in this defense. Like it's just get through the next, couple weeks and get to the regular season. So I think that's you can almost Sharpie it in, just barring, injury, which we all don't want to happen. But Max Melton, I agree with. I think he absolutely is being slept on. I think he's a guy that has a little bit more speed. Obviously, he's got more experience at this level. Played at the Big Ten, just like Will Johnson did. So yeah, Max Melton's going to play a huge role as far as this defense goes. So you got that trio, and then I think at the outside, I think that there's one more job to be had as far as maybe getting like 20 to 30% of the snaps, and we'll see like can Denzel Burke, Keitrell Clark, or who am I sleeping on here? Elijah Jones. Can somebody win that job? But for the most part, it's Max Melton, it's Will Johnson, it's Garrett Williams.
You keep in mind all those names that he just mentioned, all drafted by the Cardinals. Things are a little bit different now.
You know how many top 100 corners Steve Keim selected?
That might be 0.
1.
Byron Murphy?
Yeah, Byron Murphy.
Yeah. So and remember, we were saying that was the year that he was the lowest rated rookie corner in football. I think you have the most touchdowns because Patrick Peterson decided to cheat and then, missed the first game, which was fantastic introduction for the Rook. So with the interceptions and all this stuff, it's not, and it's obviously this is camp. They're trying out new things. You mentioned that the route was run properly and it was just a better defensive play. They're not going at full speed. Like, I know all of these things. And I think it's just a little triggering seeing the clip. I think it was Donnie or Tyler. I don't think this one was you, where you just see a dump down to Trey McBride in the middle of the field. And then you see Marv in the distance, just over the top of the DB, which could have been a 20-plus yard gain. Like, those are the things that trigger me, where it's like a first down is fine, but getting bigger chunk gains when they're allowed to you by waiting an extra beat is something for me that you want to see take a step forward. So you use the whole field instead of 70%, which is what it feels like a lot of times.
Yeah.
You think Kyler Murray's production in camp has any sort of, should it be watched, or is this really just trying to figure out what you can do with your new guys and how to elevate with Marv?
No, it's a strange case because it's like you've got this defense that now is formidable. It's the cliche iron sharpening iron, and now you're seeing a power struggle. You're seeing a back and forth, like a true competitive day of camp, where like one series the defense is game wrecking and suffocating, and then the next, like the offense has Kyler goes 4 for 4 and moves the chains. So you don't get like a perfect performance any longer, which we saw last year. And then you go to the regular season and you're like, where's this offense that we saw in camp? Well, it's like you were going up against, some really unproven people on defense. So like day one of pads, I think that was just kind of a eye opener. Like that defensive front seven was ferocious, and Kyler Murray, like from the jump, like I can think of 3 picks so far in camp. And that was the first one. He had pressure just breathing down his neck. Jonah Williams got absolutely just beat off the edge by Baron Browning, and Kyler Murray didn't see Mac Wilson just screech across the field and made a great play for it. Another one was in the red zone, and it was Jalen Thompson, who's had a fantastic camp. He picked him off, and that's probably one, like especially earlier downs, like you don't force that ball. And then this one from Will Johnson was a good play. Like, I think you have to really rely upon looking at Kyler Murray's career stats and know that he's 2-1 as far as touchdowns to interceptions. I know people they have an idea of who he is down the stretch. He had critical turnovers, but for the most part in his career, he hasn't been that guy.
Yeah, I mean, he has the 2 or 3 that he airmails into a safety's breadbasket a year. But yeah, I mean, for me, and we'll move on here to reasonable expectations on the team here in a second. Like, it's weird for him because his stats are either jaw-dropping or non-existent. Like, there's not really – he doesn't have a whole lot of, like, 265, 22 for 27 for 265, 2 touchdowns and a pick. It's like 17 for 24 for 139. Like, it's – for me, with Kyler, it's wins and losses in 2025, and that's it. He's never going to be like, he'll stat stuff a couple games a year, but it's like, is it just winning games? Is that the only barometer check for this team with Kyler Murray moving forward?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people want it to look a little sexier in the stat column, and like he's going to have the opportunity to do so. Like he went from the toughest quarterback schedule in 2024 to I think like the 5th or 6th easiest here in this upcoming season. So like, as long as the games don't get out of hand too early just by grounding and pounding, like New Orleans, like couldn't you envision like that's just an easy day at the office for Kyler and there's a lot of handoffs and that game's just won handily? Or like could they kind of understand that there's a little window dressing and you can kind of pad some stats here early on so you look good at the end of the year, but otherwise like an uptick from 21 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, I think that's more like where people are at. Like if Kyler Murray comes away with his career high, matches it with 26 touchdowns, I think people would sign up for that because you got the rushing as well. He's probably over 30 total touchdowns, and I think that would be enough for this offense with what the expectations are for this defense.
Yeah, I agree with you. Bo Brack, PHNX Cardinals, joining me here. What are reasonable expectations? What's the top ceiling? We'll hit that next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals brought to you by Boop, our friends at Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? Well, with Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. And it's more than just a budgeting app, man. Complete financial command center, all in one app. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. For me, I used to eat out more than I should. Okay. I'm making more food at home, and it allowed me to track things. So I was able to allocate those funds to other things. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. Turn notifications on. Just crossed 4,000 subscribers. Appreciate everybody who's been here, whether it be from day one or, if this is your first listen. I promise the content's usually better when it's just me. But I wanted to have Bo, my buddy, on from PHNX Cardinals. Yeah, it's graded on a curve, I think. So reasonable expectations for the Cardinals in 2025. 10.5 wins. That's kind of where I am. I know the line's lower, but I feel like with the schedule and with, the uncertainty surrounding the NFC West teams a little bit more than in recent memory, I don't think that's like insane to have as kind of a baseline.
Yeah. I mean, you have to really keep in mind, like 10 wins for the Seahawks wasn't enough to win the division or get to the playoffs. So is the magic number 11? I think it certainly should be. When you look at their schedule, like there is, I think, 10 wins there. Like if you just take care of business, obviously there's a fluke game, there's a bad performance that you have to factor in, but then there's also the games like the Cardinals have to beat some of the teams that they're not favored against, according to the sharps in Vegas. So, if they can get to that level, which I think they will, the baseline I think now was set last year, where this team should hover around 500, and then whatever you get outside of the expectations, that's going to be, added value to their win total. So I think like you have to shoot for 11, 12, just based on where you are, where your organization wants to go and what you need to do as far as kind of holding off the dogs when it comes to guys like Kyler Murray. Yeah.
And, it's one score games. I mean, that can swing you from 7-10 to 12-7, whatever the swing would be. It's like 12-6, like 12-5. And this is set up perfectly. We've talked about this a little bit. I was with you, a few weeks ago, and we were talking about this. Like this is set up perfectly to where this is the final boss for Kyler Murray. It's easy early, it's tough late, and you got to get through the gauntlet to get to the other side and maintain being an Arizona Cardinals quarterback. You would think it's the perfect setup for this team to show that things have moved in a more positive direction, or not. Or I'll just be eating crow saying, well, it's the same old Cardinals and you guys told me the entire time. I just can't find a way, regardless of schedule strength, that would be the case. And we're not going to be seeing leveled the hell up football. I mean, especially predominantly on the defensive side from what we saw the last couple of years. So top ceiling for you, like, can this team – it's not about getting hot. Can this team win games they're supposed to win? Win one-score games, win 13 games, and make a push deep into the playoffs.
I think they showed the ability to do that a little bit last year, but now it's like with the improved roster, like the coaching staff is there, and I think the coaching staff is what really truly set the groundwork there. But now, like, I think this defense is going to be one that after a couple of weeks, people are going to start paying attention. It's just like AQ Shipley, the new radio analyst, said on his availability on Saturdays, like, now we got to see where Kyler can take us. Yeah. And if Kyler Murray has a great year, the Cardinals are going to have a great year. If he had a great year last year, they would have been in the postseason. Like, you would have avoided a couple of those, the Carolina game. I think you would have avoided, the end of like, he was good in the Rams game, but the end of the Rams game. So he was close last year, but he needs to be consistently good. And if you get that, and that's what you thought you were going to get was just with a healthy Kyler Murray, I think this schedule could yield 11, 12 wins. I have no doubts about that.
If you had to choose Kyler Murray top 3 or top 5 in MVP voting, Jonathan Gannon Coach of the Year, or Kyler Murray not with the Arizona Cardinals in 2026 and Drew Petzing gone, which do you think has a better chance of happening?
Oh man, I would go with like the Gannon Coach of the Year thing.
Yeah, no, me too. And it's not close really to either, but it's like, I mean, it could be, but that's the more believable thing for me, especially with how the roster's bumped.
I just don't know. I just don't know. I know Kyler's done it. Like you and I witnessed it when we were doing this show, like the first 7 weeks, right? He had 20 total touchdowns. Like he's got that Linsanity run in him, right? Can he do it the length of a season? Still need to see it and stay healthy in order to do so. But you gotta have so many total touchdowns. You gotta win so many games. But also, like through 10 weeks last year, they had him as a dark horse. Is that good enough for top 5? Probably fringe, right? That doesn't put him in. So that's why I'm a little skeptical about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's more just the arena of being around there, meaning he played well enough. And then Jonathan Gannon winning coach of the year. Bo, tell people where they can find you, dude.
Yeah, PHNX Cardinals, man, every day talking about it. Like Clancy here, 4:30 on YouTube or Samsung TV. You can find us there. We're in the thick of camp. They're off today, back tomorrow. 3 more days of camp, and then preseason, man. Saturday, Kansas City Chiefs. Look at us.
Look at us. We did it, everybody. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Remember, without you, there's no me. I'll talk to you tomorrow.